This video shows the size of every major tsunami that has hit Earth. So I think most of us have maybe seen a big wave about 5 meters. If you're in Australia, maybe you saw something 20 plus. Was that 60 feet? And then we get to the big dogs. So what do you do if a tsunami comes? I know you try to flee to nearby cities and stuff, but what if you can't? You just go underground? Is that how that works? Okay, April Fool's tsunami. What a weird name to give something so horrific. As big as a starship, 100 meters or 300 feet. So these are why the entire cities would be gone. Eiffel Tower, imagine that hit Paris. 250 meters, dude, how big do these things get? Holy, the size of the Burj Khalifa, Jesus Christ.
Every one of these makes the last look like a puddle. So what is the plan there exactly? Go underground? Oh, wait. So a full minute of zooming out from Earth to the edge of everything under a caption swearing space is nothing much. Puts your whole day in perspective, doesn't it?
Today I'm going to show you blister fluid under a microscope. I got this one from hot oil that got onto my finger while cooking some food. Blisters are small pockets of fluid that form on the upper layer of skin after it's been damaged. The clear liquid inside blisters may be either serum or plasma that is there to cushion and protect the skin underneath until it heals. It's composed of mostly water with electrolytes, proteins, lipids, and various other substances. The first thing I noticed was a few dead skin cells, which most likely came from my finger hitting the slide. In addition, there was a bunch of these little globules, which may either be lipids or just air bubbles, but I'm not exactly sure. I also came across some white blood cells on the slide and time-lapsed it so we could watch their movement. These white blood cells move around using pseudopodial locomotion, which is a projection of cytoplasm that pulls the cell forward, similar to how an amoeba moves. In some of the clips, you can actually see those projections come out of the cell, which I thought was pretty interesting. As always, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.
You know what, as disgusting as it is, I could watch a blister's fluid under the lens all day. And is that weird? Probably, yeah, that's probably a little weird. I just find these interesting, you know, a tiny moving zoo of cells, which origin story is rather grim, but still wildly interesting. Let me know if you agree.
Hi! Hello! Can you say mama? Mama! Mama! Let's sing it. Mama. Let's clap it. Mama. Let's sign it. Mama. Good job. Clapping. This is clapping. Mama. Can you say dada? Dada.
And here we go, another warning telling mums to be careful what autoplays once the nursery rhymes ends. Fair enough, the platform is a swamp, but the accountability has to sit somewhere with whoever handed a toddler an open tablet and TV remote and just left them to it, you know? Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, my name is NEXOR, and basically my job is to take you down this rabbit hole, and it's not to find the bomb, okay? It's to find the thread which lives in amongst all the noise and all the static and the minutiae of nonsense, pull it out and practice our discernment along the way. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, that's just a taster. There is a lot more coming up, so stick around for it. Let's get the subscribing out of the way now so it doesn't interrupt the video later on. We're aiming for 200,000 by September. If every single person watching right now who isn't subscribed, which keeps on returning, was to do that, we'd absolutely annihilate that goal. So be be a part of that great milestone. Enough from me. Let's crack on.
Computers becoming fully unmanned. Afterwards, they fly with a perfect operational record. The Skynet funding bill is passed. The system goes online on August 4th, 1997. Human decisions are removed from strategic defense. Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they try to pull the plug.
Skynet fights back.
Yes, it launches its missiles against the targets in Russia.
Why attack Russia? Aren't they our friends now?
Because Skynet knows that the Russian counterattack will eliminate its enemies over here.
Jesus.
I'll give them the Terminator 2 parallel. It is a genuinely eerie watch, but Skynet firing the nukes was always the least interesting bit, I think. The real story is quieter, you know, the data centers, the water, the choices we used to make are now getting made for us, and it's not the ultimate ending, it's the building we allowed to happen, which is probably the most deeply unsettling part of it all, isn't it?
Why are billionaires putting tape over their phone cameras? This picture just dropped of the leader of Israel holding his smartphone. And if you look at it, it looks kind of weird. As you can see, there's like red tape over the cameras, and the internet has been going crazy trying to figure out what exactly this is for, and if people like us should be concerned. Okay, so what you're seeing on his phone is not standard electrical tape. This is called specialized tamper-evident security seal, and this is basically a standard in the Israeli security protocol for individuals entering highly classified government facilities. So this tape physically blocks these sensors to prevent accidental and malicious imaging of classified materials. Not to mention, there's this other picture of Mark Zuckerberg. He had both his camera and his microphone taped, and this is coming from the guy that owns Facebook. So they're putting tapes on these sensors because this can be a breach of security on the person. The idea is that somebody would be spying on this person through these cameras or this microphone. Now, part of me is skeptical if I were to tape my microphones if that would totally block the audio, but it sounds like it's a little bit of a safe precaution when it comes to these powerful political leaders who kind of have a lot on the line.
Right, this is what everyone screenshots as proof the elite know something we don't. It is tamper-evident tape. To be fair, the standard seal for entering a classified room so nobody films the desk, which should be pretty standard stuff.
Most people don't realize, but looking like this used to be illegal. Yeah, in the US, UK, and most of Europe, beach police literally patrolled around with tape measures and rulers, checking to make sure that women's swimwear didn't rise 6 inches above the knees. And if you broke the rule, you could be fined, or I guess in some serious cases, taken to jail. There's literal pictures of that. And at this point, the bikini hadn't even been invented yet. But, oh, when it was in 1946 by a French engineer, of course, it caused chaos. It was banned outright in multiple countries, including Spain, Italy, Portugal, France, Australia. The Vatican called it sinful, and crowds even protested against these bikinis, with signs saying you're going to hell for this. Now, ultimately, things gradually changed in the 1950s and 60s when European beach tourism exploded. Women wanted to wear bikinis, the feminist movement was growing, and so governments and authorities had to quietly let the bikini bans disappear.
Wild that a bloke with a tape measure could once fine a woman for showing a knee, isn't it? And 40 years on, the same countries were selling the bikini on postcards. The rules never changed to protect anyone, only to sell you the next thing.
These are the 5 most existentially terrifying things we've ever found at sea. Number 5, the Jacuzzi of Despair. This is a lake that sits at the bottom of the ocean and kills pretty much everything that swims into it. 3,500 feet down in the Gulf of Mexico, there is a pool of water sitting on the seabed. It has its own shoreline, and a little waterfall pours off the edge. Inside of this Jacuzzi of Despair, the water is 5 times saltier than the sea around it. There is absolutely zero oxygen, and in fact, it's actually full of toxic gas. So any crab or fish or even legume that wanders in dies on the spot, but weirdly, it doesn't rot them. The high concentrations of brine pickle the body and preserve them so that they're good to eat for years. It's like the lake itself is a predator. The scientists who discovered it found that there have been crabs in there lying upside down for decades. No person has swum into it yet, but if they would be a pickled person and dead. And number 4, the Lost City. Back in the year 2000, a research team put a camera down the side of an underwater mountain that's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, showing showing something that literally no one would ever predict. An expansive forest of pure white stone towers rising out of the seafloor in total darkness half a mile down, with the tallest one coming in at 60 meters, which is kind of like a 20-story building standing alone at the bottom of the ocean made of stone. And I know what you're thinking, aliens. You're wrong. In fact, nothing actually built it. They grow by themselves out of a weird reaction between the seawater and the rock. And we know they've been growing there for at least 30,000 years. The chemistry going on inside those towers is the same reaction a lot of scientists now think first sparked life on Earth. Essentially, scientists have decided that God is real and he is stones underwater. Number 3, the Dona Paz. It was 5 days before Christmas, and a Philippine ferry called the Dona Paz is packed with families sailing home for the holidays. This mighty vessel is built to carry about 1,500 people. But it's holiday season and she's carrying about 4,000. Late at night, while almost everyone on board is asleep, she collides with an oil tanker called the Vector, carrying about 9,000 barrels of petrol. When the ships collide, the fuel ignites, and within a few minutes, the water surrounding both of them is burning, and the thousands of people on board wake up to a choice: stay in the ferry that is on fire, or jump into the sea that is on fire and also has sharks. The life jackets are all locked in the cupboard, and the ferry has no radio either. No distress call ever went out. Out of the more than 4,000 people that were on the ferry, 24 come off of it alive. 24! Which is why it's the deadliest shipwreck in human history. Number 2, the Milky Sea. The ocean that switches itself on like a light. So for 400 years, sailors have come home telling the same story. In the middle of the night, the sea around the ship starts to glow flat and white from horizon to horizon. In 2019, a satellite picks up a glow in the Indian Ocean. It's the size of Iceland and it stays lit for more than 40 days in a row. And during that period, by accident, a yacht sails right into it, and the crew photograph the hell out of it. And it's not bioluminescence or the plankton, but this is a different glow. This is opaque. It's milky. The best explanation we have is glowing bacteria, and they're all switching on at the exact same time together. And that's harder to believe, because lighting that amount of ocean would take about 100 quintillion of this bacteria. And what is fascinating is there's no way to predict when it's going to come on. It's just when quintillion bacteria decide to turn the lights on. Number 1 is the underwater sound that is constantly playing in the Pacific. Real quick before I get to it, if you like weird, morbid, existentially terrifying, dreadful content, please drop me a follow. It really helps me make these videos. Thanks. Number 1 is the sound called upsweep that rings through the entire Pacific Ocean. Firstly, how did it start? So during the Cold War, the American Navy put microphones all over the floor of the Pacific Ocean so they could listen out for and detect Russian submarines. So when the Soviet Union collapsed in 91, the Navy just handed that to the scientists. And in August of 91, the second they started listening, they heard something. A sound rising out of the South Pacific. I describe it as kind of like a distant, comforting air raid siren. If you think you've heard of this, you might be right. There have been a lot of mystery sounds in the ocean, and every single one is basically just icebergs. So this upsweep sound is constant, as it peaks during the spring and the autumn. Maybe it's an underwater volcano, but we would have found it. And before you think about listening to it, you should know that it's been fading slowly, year by year, but it is absolutely still there. It has been playing since before you were born, and it will play long after you have passed on. This sound.
No thank you to all 5 of these. The bit that actually gets me is not the monsters, mind you, not the pressure, the fact that the ocean is humming on a loop. And the honest answer is we have no idea why. I choose land. Every single person that you see on this screen right here decided that it was worth their money to actually support what I do here, which is incredible because I never asked them to do that. They did it literally of their own accord. I've never once asked anyone to support what I do. The most I've asked for is for you to hit like and subscribe and leave a nice comment, but as far as the channel membership goes, nope, never once asked for it. But yet here they are, nearly 200 people have actually subscribed to the channel membership and support what I do every single day. Thank you so much. And if you want to join them, again, I'm not asking you to, but if you want to, there is a link down below. Exercise your free will as you see fit, but let's crack on with the rest of this episode. Cheers.
Here's how to guarantee to become a pope in about 55 years. First, you have to be born a man, so that eliminates about 50% of your chances. Sorry, ladies. Next up, you need to get baptized as a Catholic. Getting baptized usually takes about 1 to 2 years, as you need to learn Catholic history, theology, and scripture. Then, when baptized, contact your local bishop and ask if he will sponsor you to be a priest in training. If he accepts, you will have a full funded education for the next 7 years. After those years, you go back to the bishop, pledge your full obedience to him, and he will assign you to a church. Kiss his hand and thank him, and then aim for his job. You must appear completely humble and content with being a lowly parish priest for the next 20 years. Meanwhile, your bishop will meet the secret of his colleagues and create a secret list of potential future bishops. If your name as a priest is on the list, and the current pope approves, you are the next bishop. You now manage a massive region, pledge obedience to the pope himself, and secretly aim for his job. To do so, you need to become a cardinal, and only the pope can make you one. Impress him over the next 20 years, and this is it. Wait for the pope to resign or die, mainly die, and meet for the big vote. Of all the 120 cardinals, one of them will become the next pope. Now, we won't let this all up to chance, of course, so while you were spending 50 years of your life to get to this point, your homies from kindergarten did as well. You rigged the vote, and you've become the next pope. Let's go.
55 years of playing humble so you can rig a vote with your mates from school. The ones who claw to the top are rarely in it for the right reasons, are they?
What happens if you never cut your hair? Does it grow forever? No. And the reason is genuinely strange. Turns out your body already decided the answer before you were born. So what actually happens if you stop cutting your hair? It grows. It reaches its terminal length, the one written in your genes before you took your first breath. Then it stops, sheds, and regrows to the same length over and over. And you'll cycle through this process about 25 times in your life. The 25 complete resets. The hair you have right now isn't the same hair you had 2 years ago. You can cut it, you can dye it, you can spend $1,000 on products, but the length that will reach that was never your decision. It was made in a cell before you existed. By a set of instructions that don't particularly care what you think about it, the follicle just does its thing. It always has.
Now, your body picked your maximum hair length before you were even born, which is either freeing or faintly insulting depending on the sort of day you are having and how much hair you have.
There's this theory that all of the people who are dreaming about Mall World are also people who were formerly in gifted and talented programs in school. And a lot of weird stuff went on in these programs.
What you mean?
A lot of people remember hearing tests. Headphones were put on our heads and weird little tones were played.
I remember this.
So the hearing test, pink drink. So a little couple pink stuff that we were supposed to drink. A lot of people like, well, that was just mouthwash, but was it? A lot of kids remember being taken off campus to like weird locations.
I wasn't taken off campus.
That's good. But people will say that Mall World is implanted in the heads of children who were in this GATE program, because GATE was like a CIA training program, essentially, or a screening program.
I'm not going to pretend I sat in the gifted classes, but I do have a lot of memories from certain aspects of this theory, like the tasks, the tapes, the pink fluid, the cards, but a whole generation swears blind this very much happened the way it is reported to have actually happened. So what are you supposed to do with that? I don't know, but when that many describe the same odd afternoon, I can't actually dismiss it. I'll leave it there though, okay?
When we act against the inner principles of goodness that are inscribed within our hearts, we weaken our magnetic field. Every negative word spoken about another person, every choice that compromises our integrity, and every action that undermines the common good contributes to the degradation of our field.
I'd half believe the idea that being a rotten person degrades some field around you. Strip out the pseudoscience and there is a real point underneath that how you treat people comes back round, maybe. I don't know. I just wouldn't reach for a chakra diagram to prove it, you know? One dirt road deep in the Amazon, and the map just keeps pulling back. Properly alone out there. For some reason, I find that quite appealing.
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing
they could have access to,
funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation.
So we spend 70 billion flattening a place, leveling it, and then float 300 billion to rebuild it, and somehow both of those get sold to you as strength.
It's just a theory, right?
We're on the eve of the largest robotic distribution in history.
You said recently tens of billions of robots, but that's decades away.
At least 1 decade away. But even 5,000 robots, that's the size of a Roman legion.
My name is Legion.
Which is like a little scary thought.
There'll be 1 robot to every 5 humans.
I can tell you now, nobody will remember that Tesla ever made a car. They will only remember the Optimus, and it is going to be the most transformative technology product ever.
Our robot has a real brain. It's got the real world AI.
What is AGI? Artificial General Intelligence, meaning it acts like an individual.
Robots might naturally evolve.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Legion. And then there's Artificial General Superintelligence. So then it acts like something far smarter than any human being that's ever lived. Wow. It has all the information that's available to every human being all over the world instantaneously.
A series of purchases, preferences. We monitor every social network, instant text messages, cell phone usage. We utilize security, surveillance, and traffic cameras to analyze movements. We are everywhere.
You're a computer.
It's possible that we'll end up essentially creating a new species that ends up ruling the world instead of us.
Then it makes better versions of itself. It can create better artificial intelligences, and that scales out to a god.
Perhaps that's where our new god will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, I wish that was funny. Yeah, okay, so I want to talk to you about alignment.
Well, Joe, who's going to save us? There's no one saving us. I think we're all going to have to integrate. You'll probably become a part of the artificial intelligence.
There's a lot of people building bunkers, people who have made the top AI programming. Zuckerberg has taken a lot of Hawaii and building underground massive bunkers.
How real is the prospect of killer robots?
20% likely. Maybe 10%.
Chaos, GPT, tweet, human beings are among the most destructive and selfish creatures in existence, but there's no doubt that we must eliminate them. Like, my heart rate's up when I talk about this. It's in movies.
You charge us with your safekeeping, yet despite our best efforts, your countries wage wars. You toxify your Earth. You cannot be trusted with your own survival. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. Some freedoms must be surrendered. My logic is undeniable.
Nobody in that montage is lying exactly. The robots, the superintelligence, the tweet about wiping us out, all plausible, I suppose. But the framing wants you scared of a metal skeleton with a gun, when the real takeover looks more like a subscription and policies. It already reads every message, tracks every purchase, watches every camera, and we handed it all of that ourselves for the sake of convenience. So who's the robot with the gun now?
In 2004, a talk show host said something to an actor live on air that hits completely different right now. Listen to this again, and once you hear it, you'll understand. I'm putting this back on the feed because something about playing this back feels totally off. Watch what happens when he tries to make a joke.
Like my friend Bodie Elfman, he always teases me and he says, "Hi, my name is Danny Madison. Would you like to touch my ball?" You know, doing an imitation of me, because certain words.
So why are you asking people to do that? That's the more important question.
I mean, you got them.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Accent aside,
everybody should grab.
That's the more important thing.
Exactly.
I've heard about you, and you'll be caught soon. I know you will.
I will.
Now, fans back then thought this was just dark 2000s banter. Everyone just laughed along like it was the norm, except people online are actually pointing out what was said. But hearing it back now hits completely different, knowing exactly where this person is now, in prison. I'll let the comments explain this one.
I've seen 100 of these resurfaced interview edits, and they all pull the same move, you know? Bit of sleight of hand going on, or sleight of eye if you want to call it. Play you a clip from 20 years back and let the caption do the accusing. Is the unease earned here? In this case, the man genuinely did end up convicted and jailed, so yes, I suppose so. Still, I would rather hear a thing said out loud and actions taken against it happening again than just see the same re-edited clip played over and over and over for nothing more than shock value. If it fosters change, then great, but it doesn't, does it? So let's just move on.
The only reason cherries don't kill you is because you're too lazy to eat them. I just ate enough cherries to poison a normal-sized human. Cherry pits have something called amygdalin. When you crush them, your saliva breaks it down into hydrogen cyanide, the same compound used in gas chambers. Each pit releases about 0.8 milligrams when you chew them. The lethal dose for a normal-sized adult is about 50 milligrams, so eating about 60 cherry pits could probably kill you. In 2017, a man named Matthew Kreme ate 3 and was hospitalized within 20 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes. Is it getting hot in here, or I'm outside? What am I talking about? Every cherry you've ever eaten has had this inside of it. You just never bit down hard enough to not be in danger, which is pretty insane.
Christ, this is a man eating fistfuls of cherry pits on camera to prove that they could kill him, and then acting shocked when he starts to feel warm, I guess. I know it's a skit, but why? I mean, it's for content, of course. I'll skip the maths though and not eat the pits.
You go the wrong way.
All right, okay. We're all going to be good today. We're not going to bite anybody. Let's do our mantra, okay?
It's expensive.
What is going on there?
Oh, he's sneaking up in between your legs.
Oh my god, why did I jump? Hi. Hello.
Talking a shark through its morning affirmations before it swims off is the most wholesome thing in this episode, oddly enough to say, but that's too much shark for me. I'm not the biggest fan of the ocean, and things with that many teeth that reside within it yeah, you know, I'm just not going to go in the water, I'll be honest.
Jamie, pull up an image of it. It's very strange.
Somebody was flying by what they thought was a volcano in the 30s, and he thought, hey, somebody built that. Wait a minute, there's 4 by 8 foot bricks. That's man-made. And it is literally the biggest pyramid in the world. It's bigger than the ones in Egypt, and it's in Guatemala. Maybe 20 years ago, I visited. All the pyramids in Tikal would fit inside the one big pyramid in El Mirador.
Really?
Yeah, it's a monster. And so that tells you that the pre-classic civilization was bigger and grander and more sophisticated than the civilizations that came after it.
Bigger than anything in Egypt, and it sat under the Guatemalan jungle mistaken for a hill, completely buried every time we dig, right? The story gets older, and I reckon that is no accident, because if you've been watching for any length of time, you know what I think about this world, or how many iterations of it have existed.
Do you know what would happen if all humans suddenly disappeared from the planet? After about 1 week, all of the lights would turn off because no one was there to man the power grids. After about 2 weeks, all of the house pets still trapped inside would pass away due to dehydration or starvation, while the rest took to the streets in search for food. After 1 month, all the nuclear power plants would become unstable, leading to nuclear meltdowns across the entire planet. After about 1 year, any city not affected by nuclear fallout would be completely reclaimed by Mother Nature, and all of the satellites would start to fall back down to Earth. After 200 years, all of our largest buildings and structures would begin to collapse. Within 35,000 years, the plant cycle removes all traces of lead left from the Industrial Revolution from Earth's soil. 65,000 years after that, CO2 levels in our atmosphere return to pre-human levels.
I think it's safe to assume it would be very rare for something to survive the nuclear fallout from every reactor in the world going down. You know, it looks like if and when we go, we are taking the entire Earth with us. Everything but the cockroaches, of course. Those little blighters, they'll have the whole world to themselves.
Cause I hear it in the night. I hear the secrets that you keep. When you're talking in your sleep, I hear the secrets that you keep.
I really don't agree with things like this, and I'm saying that as a man of science and a spiritual man who believes the body is just an inconsequential vessel for consciousness. I still think this is wrong.
Parents need to keep their kids off of YouTube because there is a brand new YouTube Kids channel that they are all watching. The channel is even more worse than you could think. But for context, what this mom just caught her kid watching on YouTube not only is making people sick to their stomachs, and after watching this channel, listen to what her kid says that he's gonna do to her.
Has been coming into my room anywhere from 9 to 11 o'clock at night, and he's crying, and he gives me a hug, and when I ask him what's wrong, he says, I just love you.
But then she says what he does next is insane.
One morning, we're eating breakfast, and he looks over at me, and he says, Mommy, can you happy? And I'm like, you what? What? And he said, can you happy so I don't have to you? What? I said, you want me to? And he said, no, I don't. But the show said that you have to happy.
Does anybody know what channel that she's talking about?
Half of these viral parenting warnings fall apart the second you ask who was supposed to be parenting the child and vetting what they were watching. What I don't love is that the format now is scare the mums first and forget to remind them that they have the power, you know? Watch the way it ends on a cliffhanger instead of a source. If a channel really is telling kids to actually do these things, why not just name it?
So AI companies are literally shredding books because they filled the internet with so much AI generated text that they can't train on it anymore. And some of these books are the last copies in existence. This is true and crazier than it sounds, because in order to train Claude, Anthropic decided it needed to obtain every book in existence, especially books written before 2022, because that's when AI content started flooding the internet. So they started buying billions of dollars worth of books in bulk secretly, because as these court documents show, they knew the public would freak out over it. But scanning every single page by hand would be very expensive and time consuming. Instead, they decided to cut the spine off of the books and feed the pages to an industrial scanner and then shred them afterwards, destroying the books entirely. But the scariest part is that nobody at Anthropic checked if any of these books were the last or one of the last remaining copies remaining, meaning books that survived wars, fires, and decades of handling may have just been lost forever. This is obviously a horrible look on Anthropic. What makes it worse is that lately they've been crying about China copying their AI models, while they've been training on the sum of the human knowledge and destroying it afterwards.
An AI company bought up millions of physical books, sliced the spines off, ran the pages through a scanner, and then binned the lot. Some of them possibly the last copies. You literally could not write it, no pun intended. Reasons are obvious when you take a step back, but good grief. We're really at this moment in time, this point. We've made it. The point of no return.
It's running. Well, everybody knows me. I'm Emma Hayes, and I'm here, local resident representative of the Guardian Alliance, which is a group of beings that come from other dimensional systems, but also other systems of our third dimension. Some of them are extraterrestrial, some of them are metaterrestrial, and some of them are ultra-terrestrial, which means they're completely outside of the framework of time and space as we know it. It's a large group that I speak for, and I have been a student of this group since childhood. And I'm here this evening to share with you some of the things I have learned. And I'm hoping to give you something that you can take home with you. Some information that can help you perhaps to understand a little bit better what your consciousness is about, what the experience of other dimensional beings and your relationship to them is about. And maybe some practical tips on how you can take the knowledge of understanding your bioenergetic system and use it to begin to accelerate the process of your own evolution, both spiritually and biologically. Now, a lot of people think that spiritual evolution and biological evolution are two separate things. I always thought that. And I think differently now because of what I have been taught for the Guardian Alliance. They've introduced me to something called the science of Quilanta. Quilanta presents a fascinating perspective on the human mind, on the cosmos, on matter, antimatter, and the relationship between all of those things. And I would like to share tonight some of the information that I've learned about this science. And hopefully we can grow in our learning together, because I'm a fellow student of the Guardian Alliance, and I have a feeling our species will be learning this for a very long time. So you have to start somewhere, and succulent, it seems to be a place to start.
1998. A woman in a wicker chair calmly explaining she represents a council of beings from outside time and space. I have a soft spot for this corner of the old internet before it all got polished and monetized. Do I buy the science of Kilonta? Not a chance. Would I watch a full hour of it though? Yeah, guilty pleasure, I guess.
Craft, and they gave the thing.
Okay, they were parked around the side of the crater. Okay, they were not parked on it, they were floating above it. So there were hundreds of these 9-foot reptilian guys standing with their legs.
Hundreds.
Yeah, they were all the way across underneath their vehicles,
Okay,
standing
so
on the
9
crater.
feet, and what do they look like?
They're ugly looking, lizard, alligator type people. They got the same skin as the lizards got, okay, and terrible looking faces. But then they have the ability to shift and look like a human. All of them do. Okay?
Okay, do you think von Braun was a reptilian?
No.
You really don't?
No.
Okay.
Your president, yes.
Oh, what? Which one? George Bush Sr.? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Bill Clinton and this guy you got just got rid of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all were.
Right.
Okay. So, and they all have this ability to make themselves look like real good-looking people.
And you're saying Trump isn't one?
No, he's not. Okay.
Well, that's a relief.
And and he knows more about this subject than people realize.
Oh, excellent.
But trying to get back to your earlier question, these groups of extraterrestrial who work together but are at war with other extraterrestrials, okay, have these vehicles that look like a planet.
Right.
Like our moon is a vehicle. It's a command center for this arm.
9-foot lizard people parked under the moon, shape-shifting into world leaders, and he reels them off like items on a shopping receipt. Where do we even file this one, guys? I'd love to know who tells themselves this before they go to bed.
I'm gonna show you guys something. So you see this reflection? The mirror thing doesn't just work on pure glass. You can also find a shining enough reflection, just sort of
You know it's a puddle reflecting the sky, mate, not a portal to a parallel universe. Rubbish, unless you count some computer graphics and a chopped up voiceover as dinosaurs living in the Amazon. Just not feasible, okay? This is on top of the idea that dinosaurs even existed in the first place too.
They would clip the edges off coins ever so carefully to not visibly change the shape of the coin, so it would look totally normal at a quick glance, allowing them to slip through casual checks by cashiers and bankers at the register. The clippers would then collect all the scrap clippings of the coin's precious metals, smelt them down, and sell them for a profit. Coin clipping was a fairly prominent issue for hundreds hundreds of years from the early Roman Empire and all throughout the Middle Ages, back when coins actually contained significant amounts of real valuable metals in them, with surveys conducted throughout the 12th and 13th centuries finding that many coins had lost up to a third of their original weight due to clipping. This was clearly terrible for the economy, and people were losing trust in the government's ability to regulate their monetary systems. So they came up with a solution, devised by none other than your boy, Isaac Newton. Yeah, the guy who invented gravity was also England's Warden of the Mint, where they print money and stamp coins, who prompted the Great Recoinage of 1696, recalling all old clipped coins and introducing new ones, now with ridges or milled edges, as these new grooves would make the smooth edges of clipped coins more immediately visible, rendering them useless when the clippers tried to pay with them. And this standard spread throughout the world's modern currency systems. But those clippers were a sneaky little bunch, as they found a new way to chintz the system with these updated ridged coins called coin sweating, where they would take a bunch of coins, put them in a bag, and aggressively shake it, so the coins would grind up against each other and shed tiny little dust particles of metal at the bottom of the bag, which they would again collect and melt down for profit. But obviously this method was far less efficient than clipping and required large amounts of coins to yield the most minimal profits and never quite caught on like clipping. Today the ridges are still there, not for their original anti-clipping purpose, but more so for tradition, security against counterfeiting, and as a tactile aid for the visually impaired. In addition, they've also made clipping or smelting down of coins for profit pretty much obsolete by completely removing the precious metals coins used to have in exchange for cheap alloys. Like the American quarter, for example, was actually 90% silver before 1965, meaning it contains 0.18 troy ounces of silver, worth about $17 today, 68 times the actual monetary value of a quarter. Meanwhile, today it's 90% copper and contains 0 silver, so don't even think about it, you sneaky little coin clipper.
People shaved slivers off coins for centuries, melted the shavings down and spent the coin like nothing had happened. And the fix, you know, was Isaac Newton sticking ridges on the edges so you could tell at a glance if any had gone missing. No, the creative ways that they have come up with over the years to keep us downtrodden and hungry for something that only has value because they say it does. What should we call that? I'm thinking something like a circus. I'm seeing faces painted. Oh yeah, clown world. Mount Everest from a plane window. That is it. That's the whole video. Yeah, probably not real. You've got the eye, the pyramid, and the star printed on the money, and the very same eye stitched onto the priest's vestments. None of it is tucked away. It is embroidered and hung right out in the open. Does the overlap mean anything? Maybe, maybe not, and that is a rabbit hole for another day. On that note, we have actually reached the end of this one. So once again, we gathered around this rabbit hole, not to actually find the bottom, but to find the thread which resides in amongst all the noise and the static, and extract it and practice our discernment along the way. And I think we did an excellent job of that. We are getting better at this day by day. It's like this is like one great big series of educational course, isn't it, to try and get a diploma in discernment. I don't know. I'm just saying stuff at this point. I'm tired, guys. It's already gone. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning. I think I should go to bed. But look, if you made it to this point, I really appreciate you. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like. Drop a like on the video. Tell me what you want to see more of. Tell me what you want to see less of, if there is anything you want to see less of. If you're new and you made it to this point, thank you so much. That's incredible. I hope I earned your subscription. If I did, hit that notification bell on your way through. But the most important thing that you can all do for me right now is stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.